Hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm here with, my name is Dylan. I'm here with Eli, Lano, and Anna. Today we're just going to be talking about how slavery, how music relates to slavery and the African slave trade, and how things relate to current events and all that. And yeah, welcome. Like, what kind of effect do you think African music had on, like, the world? Like,
I have an idea. Alright, slaves didn't have easy access to instruments, so they started using work songs. People of African descent preserved elements of their African heritage while inventing new genres of music.
all right. Yeah. Like, the way Africans, like, did it, like, evolve their music here, they just, because they weren't able to, like, typically use instruments, like you said. Like, they had to, like, do it. They did a lot of, like, vocal singing. That's why, like, African gospel is, like, such a big thing.
No.
Like, do you guys know the kinds of music that came from the diaspora?
Sorry.
Black.
Well, they had a lot of spirituals, very rhythm and blues, some rap
Jazz.
evolved from it.
You know,
Like,
the work calls like we talked about previously.
And they used chants to express because they couldn't really talk, so they used music to express their captivity and what was happening.
and they, like, also communicated through song, like, codes and stuff.
Yes.
Like, what kind of music is, like, your favorite that came from it? Like, what genre?
Rap.
Rap.
R&B.
Why do you like rap?
I like rap because I feel like there's a lot of art that goes into it when people are like actually good at it. And they like speak their mind more.
Let's talk about Bob Marley.
Okay.
Alright. Do you guys know any songs that, like, Bob Marley made that he, like, were, like, cultural talk?
All of them, bro.
All of them?
Marley was a preacher. No cap.
I agree with Eli.
I shot the sheriff.
Oh no.
So baby.
Alright. So, like, do you guys know how reggae actually relates to, like, African heritage and stuff like that?
It was very spiritual music.
Rastas, their religion.
Yeah, they played a lot of guitars, like, drums and percussion instruments and stuff like that. Like through a lot of it, they played a lot of, like, during the time of, like, slavery and stuff, they invented a lot of new instruments. Like, they invented stuff like, I think they might have invented, no, they didn't invent the guitar. But they invented, like, the banjo, I think. Which is, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
It's like the ukulele.
The drums that you hit with your hands.
They've had those for a while.
It's still a drum.
Dylan, what's your favorite kind of music?
I'd probably say rap too, but
Why rap, Dylan?
for the same reasons Lano said. All the same reasons.
Y'all are just twinonyms.
Yeah.
Twinonyms, the word created by rap.
Twinonyms?
Twinonyms.
Your favorite rapper, Dylan?
That's my
I would have to
twinom.
say Eminem, because he goes against the grain. He's white.
Period. He refuses to say the N-word.
He's never said that on any song. If you look back.
Only in his spare time. Preach, Dominic. Featuring Dominic in our podcast.
He had a special guest. His name was Dominic Robert Romero.
Not the government name.
Do you guys know, like, the causes of, like, the slave trade? Do you guys know why they chose to, like, go through that?
Greediness and money, and they were trying to build a new country without doing any work, and they wanted to prove that they were a superior race other than any other people.
Yeah, that's a very quick summary of basically why. Like, they just needed people to, like, come in and, like, do work for them because they didn't have enough, like, indentured servants and stuff like that. So they needed, like, a solid working force that's immune to their diseases because they couldn't use the native peoples because they, like, fought back and stuff. Like, do you know how, like, African communities, like, responded to slavery, like, in Africa, and, like, how it affected the communities that actually came here?
I don't know, Dylan. You should tell us.
Oh, those are driving questions.
Tell us, Dylan.
Tell us, Dylan.
So, like, the way that like colonialism like affected the people in Africa, like it caused them like what happened with King Leopold. They like became weaker. The communities became weaker. Like they become very polarized. Like all the people became very distant from one another, and like people would go into like other communities just for slavery. They wouldn't go in for like resources. They'd go in just to take people as slaves because they got a lot of money from it. Resources, rum. Like the entire reason for doing like Africa doing their slave trade was to like get resources and become more powerful by giving up their people. So do you guys know how like African communities have like reclaimed their culture? Like how do they reclaim their culture through like music and stuff?
I think they reclaim their culture mainly when they kind of talk about the things they went through in a lot of songs that they could, like the poverty of it and their struggles in it. And I think it really like opened like people's eyes about it, and it really like gave people a second look at the differences they had to go through from other people.
Yeah, like in the Tupac song Trapped, he has an entire verse talking about how you can't go like just walk around in like a city without being harassed by a cop, like, and then being like violent, like being cops, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Eli, do you know how the African people reclaim their culture?
I would say the African people reclaim their culture by kind of building their own communities, like within, like within the United States, and making music, like making rap and blues and jazz and these genres and making it theirs. And I think it like affected a lot of stuff, you know, as outside of their communities as well. So I think it kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think they also reclaimed a lot of like what was theirs and showed people that they weren't just like black people by like a lot of like gang violence and like gang activities and like just getting back at the man.
Are you saying the gang violence is a good thing?
To an extent, but no.
What does that mean?
I mean,
could you
going
elaborate
towards
on that point?
what Lano's saying on gang violence.
I think it builds more to culture around everywhere, and it's sad, but in all truth, America runs off drug.
He is right. A lot of money from America is drug money.
That's a hot take
I mean,
right there.
preach.
All right. What were you gonna say, Anna?
I was gonna say it builds character.
Like gang violence?
Yeah.
Builds character.
I mean, think about it. When you're young and you get jumped into gangs, you're kind of forced to grow up.
Wouldn't you say that's like systemically bad though? Like that it happens so commonly.
No,
How can you
because
call
think
it
about it. You're getting
systemically
stronger.
bad?
Like,
Like
you're-
it's supporting the whole U.S. economy,
It's not supporting the whole U.S.
but it is. It is.
In what way?
It keeps making the prisons money. It keeps making lawyers money. It makes the U.S. money from all the drug busts and all the drug trafficking that they do with the cartel.
How does that make them money though?
They sell
They're
drugs.
a part of it. Mexico can't just get drugs over the border. The U.S., there's branches of military that are with it. That's how they get a bunch of military funding from the taxes of people,
This really
too.
does sound like a Joe Rogan podcast. It's some conspiracy stuff.
It's making sense. Keep talking.
Yeah, all right, keep spitting. Sorry, my bad.
Ask me another question.
All right, so like, why do you think gang violence is so prevalent? Like, why do you think drugs are so prevalent in African American communities?
I think that it's very prevalent because in the system that we live in, it could very well be rigged. And a lot of people who grow up poor have to turn to that side of life and like that kind of violence just to like make it. Like there's people who have to like break into houses just so they can pay their own rent. Like I just feel like, and even with that, like when people do get caught, they're still getting busted. Cops are still making money. And like in all reality, there's a lot of violence, but there's like not a lot of choice for a lot of poor people.
So I wouldn't necessarily say all the like gang violence and drugs and stuff. It's not really a good thing, like because they have to like you said, all the violence, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they can't really get out of it
Yeah.
because that's how they're born. They're born into those communities. They're born in those environments, and there's nothing they can really do about it.
Exactly. I'm not saying it's good, but it's definitely a way of life that people have to live so that they can maintain and keep food on the table and
I
like
think the
keep
rich
their
guy
family
album
like
was played by Young
supported.
Dolph was-
You know? Like I don't support it. Like it's definitely bad and it's people are dying every day, but it definitely does support the system and like it people like make their way even if they can't get out of it. Like if the system's rigged, how are they going to get out of that poor situation in the first? Like what are they going to do, go get a job at McDonald's, make like $11 an hour plus taxes? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Like, why is the system rigged? Like,
Yeah.
like
Like
it's,
I think that
like, is there a way to fix the system?
I mean
that
probably
you-
not, because it's like a government thing and
It's just white
they're just like
supremacy.
Yeah.
That's why it all started. 'Cause
Yeah.
of slavery and all
I
that
feel
stuff.
like you see like there's not as many people, as many colored people, or like, you know, like there's not as many people like young moms, young men like with kids like in really nice neighborhoods. You know, you don't see that much unless they've done something successful. A lot of times you just see like middle class to poor, like
Yeah, like that's the like common like way that most like colored people are born into.
Yeah.
Like especially in like somewhere like I don't know, Detroit, Chicago, like there's places like, you know, O Block.
yeah,
Like,
they call them ghettos. There's like whole ghettos of just people of different color races. Like it can't be a coincidence. Like
yeah, it's
I mean,
systemic problems.
yeah.
Like,
It's on purpose. It's
Yeah.
the system's made to keep people down and to make the richer, the people who are already up and who are already doing these things and are already successful, make them more successful.
Mhm.
Because why would they want anybody other than them to be as successful as them? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like they want everything for themselves, and so they'll do whatever it is to keep everybody else below them. That way they can keep control and
yeah. And
people.
that especially applies to like colored people, you know, like that, like when you like see all the communities, like even here in like Albuquerque, like you can see all the like we're a community of a majority minority, and when you look at the amount of homeless people in it, it says a lot about the systemic problems.
And
Like,
not even that, but I feel like on every side of Albuquerque, no matter where you live, there's always like some type of gang that's known there very highly. I mean, you go to the west side of Albuquerque, you have west side, you have 58th Street. You go to south side, you have south side locals, you have the south side. Like there's different gangs throughout all of them, and I feel like a lot of the kids think like, oh well, we're in gangs, but I mean,
like it's part of the like
yeah.
common times. It's part of the environment. Like
And I think gangs have very much evolved, I guess. I would say.
I also feel like what you said about the violence, I feel like most of the violence that goes on with those crimes and in the gang violence is from people who don't understand what they're doing and they're just trying to over everybody else. But like a lot of the times in that like kind of lifestyle, everybody's cool with each other no matter where you're from. Like people can get along unless there's a problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times
And
it's
then
the young people going all crazy trying to be something they're not, that they don't have to be, and then they're the ones that get thrown in prison or like go shoot somebody, like shoot up a school because they couldn't fight, like somebody punched them because they thought they were repping something, like
Yeah. Like it's like
highly agree.
it's like greed, money, like all the dumb pointless stuff, and like that's like it sucks, and there's like not really a very it's not going to be a quick solve
Yeah,
to get
there's-
people out of that.
there's
there's
definitely-
things that the government can do, but they're not doing
Yeah.
because they don't care.
Because they're making money too.
Yeah.
There's definitely a solution.
And they're like putting so much money into like the military and stuff, and like a bunch of other pointless
and
stuff
not
that doesn't help
like
the people.
they're poor people
Other
like
than
supporting other
basically-
people. The military gets like crazy funding, but like there's nothing for people who are living on the streets. Like it just doesn't make sense.
All right,
Okay,
we,
Mr.
we're
S
good.
is coming, Mr. S
We're
is
good.
coming.
We got it.